This is my good friend and colleague, Paul Kirschbaum. I'm Leslie Wooten. It's 10:33. Let's get into it. Today's topic, online presence. Yes or no, Paul? Having an online presence is essential to growth in the hospitality industry.
Absolutely. And I think during the days of COVID proves it.
Yeah. Yeah. How so?
Well, I think your online presence, which to me is basically your digital reputation through social media, online reviews, and everything else in the world, in the digital world, on the online world. I think it really comes down to communication. The communication from you to your customer base when things go sideways or well. It's just it's a way to talk to your customer almost 24/7.
Is online presence just necessary for sales, like a sales business? We're the hospitality industry. People come to us. Well, aren't they looking for us anyway? Why do we need to go out and show them who we are online, where we're not pushing a product to them? They have to come to us to get that product. What's going on there? How's this not just a sales required online presence mentality?
Well, it's who you are, and you just said it. They're searching for you. You got to be visible. You got to be there. I mean, if you're posting once every 6 months, you're not going to get the same traffic. So it is build sales. When we talked about this many times, there's only two ways to make more money in the restaurant business. That's butts in the seats or check average. We talk about. I mean, I think we talk about it every single time. And so this one is butts in the seats. This is how to draw more people in, because 10, 15 years ago, when you had a good meal, you told one person. You had a bad meal, you tell 11 to 13, whatever the number was. Now, at a touch of a button, a customer can do good or bad and tell 50,000 people. So right. I think managing it not just only in sales and bringing people in, but your reputation. Online presence is your reputation, that people think, right or wrong, they look at things online and make a decision.
I like that, calling it your reputation. You really got to pay attention to that, because reputation isn't always something that you have control of. But what we often have control of is our branding. Now, how that branding is interpreted might be how you position the branding to begin with, but how people are taking it. So can we equate online presence to something similar to branding your restaurant?
It's absolutely branding with the slash of your culture, because you want to bleed. I personally think you need to bleed your culture and your brand through your online presence, your social media. But it's not just social media. It's also the reviews, your Google. Please, people, claim your business. Nothing drives me more crazy than not claiming your business. Running an SEO report on your website. These things. It will show your brand and what you want people to see and know about you.
Right. And you're saying, please claim your business on Google. Like, look it up. Why would you not? You got to be aware of these things. So some examples of online presence. You mentioned social media. Google's not necessarily, it's one that people go to look up everything else. But you need to get involved with Google as well. Claim your business, make sure that you have that presence there. It's your own website. It's so many different social medias, and correct me if I'm wrong, you're more of an expert here, but there are some key ones that you need to hit for social media, but I don't think there's a limit to what you could go for. If you feel that one is particular to you, do it. If you had 8, 9, 10 different social medias, I don't see anything wrong with that unless you're spending a lot of money for it. But there's some key ones that you need to hit. There's an email push. You could do videos. Hello, YouTube, let's do this. You could do blogs. Find somebody in your business that's creating that. What are the main ones that people want to get to?
So it's a very good question, Les. I mean, really, it depends on your demographics and who you want to bring in. If you're trying to bring in the younger crowd, you need to have Instagram, period. If you want a broad spectrum, really, I say the big ones are Facebook, Instagram. You need those two. Twitter, not as much, but I would just claim your handle. So whatever you can, claim all the ones you can, so you kind of keep it consistent throughout throughout your brands. And also a hashtag, a branded hashtag, basically a hashtag you always use every time you do a post Please research that hashtag because I've seen some
Yeah.
people use the inappropriate ones that they didn't know was inappropriate. But
Yeah,
so
you
just
don't know.
double
Even
check that.
even like what we're working with here, 1033 Consulting. Like we both immediately dove in to look up what 1033 means because it meant for us it was a time of day. But we didn't know who may have interpreted it the wrong way or whether it was a particular code for something. And I'm sure somebody out there can find something awful that it represents. I'm sure somebody out there can find something wonderful that it represents. But our quick research showed us that it wasn't anything prominent in social media. And so it was a safe number to go with. So we're like, okay, this only means 10:33 a.m. That was its intended purpose. And regardless of what we wanted it to mean, we absolutely had to look and make sure that that's the way the general public took it. So if somebody out there knows a different meaning for it, I promise you, we've already looked into it and made sure that it's mostly about 10:33 a.m., which is all that it meant to us. So Paul, do you have to hire somebody to manage your business's online presence, or is it something that our operators can manage on their own?
It depends. Depends on the size and the scope of what you want to do. What are you going to use it for? There's really three ways you can do it. You can do it in-house by yourself, do everything you want to do. You can hire a third party to do it for you. I think it's less personal and you can kind of feel it being boxy, I guess you could say. And then there's a third way. It's basically a platform you can purchase. There's many of them out there. I'm not going to get into the names of them. I've used plenty of them. It's an all-in-one platform where you can kind of manage your online reputation. You can manage your social media. You can post from one spot. You can respond from one spot. You can schedule posts. It does everything for you. They're not really that expensive. It's probably on the affordable side. And then you have somebody in-house that kind of manages all of that. Usually a GM, manager, owner. I'm very, very, very careful of having employees running my social media. What happens if you part ways and they have the passwords? I'm saying this from experience. I've seen this happen.
Yeah, you mean employees like your host up front or hourly employees, not like your marketing manager.
No. I meant like your bartender or your best server or your very techie line cook.
Let's look at the extremes. Yeah, absolutely. Be careful. Let's look at the extreme. So owner operator on one side who manages it all, takes care of their online presence, and they've got a lot of responsibilities beyond online presence, but they're trying to tackle this part of the business as well. And then the opposite side of the spectrum where you've got a fully staffed marketing department, whether it's home office or whatever it be. Can both of these extremes where it's owner operator running it or a fully staffed marketing department running it, could you get the same results?
Yeah, I don't see why not. I mean, it's not rocket science. There's so many articles and tips and things to learn. You don't need to go to school to learn how to do your online presence. You really don't. It takes a little bit of, it takes time and it's not easy. I'm not saying it's easy. Trust me. Anybody that does this, I do it for us at times. And I'm like, it is daunting to get all that uploaded and make sure it's right. And if you're launching something on YouTube and you have to make sure you tag it at certain, there's little things that like you have to do. You just learn as you go. I don't think it's difficult to learn. It's difficult to maintain. But I think that if you are on top of it and make part of your daily on the small owner operator, if you make it on your daily to-do list, you can have the same results because really that's the whole point of social media is kind of an equal platform. You can even boost your posts. You can pay for them the same amount that they pay for them at the big level.
Absolutely. So if you're able to balance your day with your normal operations, you might be able to get around not having a fully staffed marketing department or for smaller operation, a single marketing person. Or if that's not the way you're going to be able to operate because of your focus in the business, you need to look to bring somebody on to take care of this. Either way, it needs to be taken care of. So let's think about this from a company's mission and vision. Whether you have your mission and vision statement, whether you send that out to your staff, whether you send it out to your customers, whatever you have, let's just think about the purpose that you have, something that your business has created so that you can get the company to focus from the top down. It's very important, and it's kind of your North Star. I know a lot of companies say, here's what we go to, or here's what we're trying to get to. You take these statements very seriously and you bring it into everything you do, whether you're someone like me who likes to create core values or pillars or building blocks for every different department to work on. And then I'll take that mission, vision, core value, pillars, whatever we have, and make sure that every employee has that as part of their working goals throughout the day. Should all that be considered for online presence as well? Do you take that same mentality for here's my business focus and use it online?
That's why. That's exactly what you do. That is the driving force before anything else. Because you know what else online presence does? Help you hire the right people for you. And get the right people and get in front of the right people, your values, your core values, your pillars, your culture, whatever you want to call it, whatever your why is behind your business needs to be out there. Not only to get your your external customers, the customer into your restaurant, but your internal as your staff, because you want your staff to believe the same thing that customers that come into the door, right? And if you bleed it, and it bleeds to your staff, and it bleeds to your customer, that's really what your goal is. If you are focused on your culture, your pillars, or your why.
So this isn't just about driving business. Well, I guess it's always about driving business, but it's not just about driving customers into the building. It's about driving awareness of what you have and what you have available for people to come work with you and within your own house, which, you bring the right people in who see your vision and want to work with you towards your vision as an owner operator. That's going to build your business right there. And it's going to help you confirm that the people working for you, front of house, back of house, wherever it is, that they've come in, they've seen this online presence, they show up. When those customers walk in the door, they're giving that customer the same experience that you expect your business to be getting. So you're creating that culture through your online presence and the people that not only walk in your door, but the people that apply to your business. That's huge, huge.
Absolutely.
So should your online presence connect your business direction, either internal opportunities, external perspective? It's not as easy as finding a wizard, a software wizard, and plugging in all your information and letting that figure something out. I can't just let some software that I download do all the work for me. Like you said, I've got to look at it every day, and I've got to make sure that it's happening. This isn't something that you only do when you're starting a business, is it?
No, this is forever. This is something that 10, 15 years ago, we didn't have to worry about. But now it is a large chunk of something you need to do every day. It is as important as running your numbers. I can't push it enough, because I was kind of hesitant at first, but really what got me from doing stuff in the back of the house and moving to the front of the house and POS systems, and one big one was online. It's like you got to be careful. I mean, there's some things you need to avoid, politics, but anyway, there's you want to bleed who you are, but you don't want to push away people either. So it can be a little bit of a balance act. But again, you need to be who you are. But I think that the day-to-day of it, people kind of took it for granted, and they just kind of did here and here. But you need to be on this daily, and not just social media, but responding to reviews, or responding to posts or comments made below. If I could say anything today, my biggest advice, if not having all this stuff, is respond to everything. Everything. Don't take it personally. If it's negative, take it offline. Talk about it offline through email or a phone call. Don't pick a fight online, but respond to everything. Customers 2 times more likely to come to your restaurant after reading a negative review that you respond to. So
and we talk about that in our video about the customer is always right. is that ultimately we said they're not always right, but we talk about how to approach that from a business standpoint, and that is in the response. Whether they are right or aren't right, or they're irrational or rational or whatever's going on, you need to still address what's going on. And I think that online presence is huge, because someone like me or like you who's going to look at your online presence and be able to help you get an idea of what's happening, we're going to notice who you're responding to and how you're responding. And that's going to tell customers who also use Yelp or Google or whatever they're looking at what to expect when they get to your business.
Mm-hmm.
And if they've got a problem with a dirty fork or a dirty table or slow service, something simple, common, if they see that you're responding online, they're going to feel like, you know what, if I go there and I do have a problem, they're going to work to fix it, and that's okay.
Absolutely. And Les, I mean, 10, 15 years ago, I keep going 10, 15 years ago, before all social media and everything, you were judged when people pulled their car into your driveway or into your parking lot, okay, or when they step foot into your establishment. It's not like that anymore. It starts here. It starts at home when they start looking at online reviews. We all do it. Most people do it. If you think less, that they do. So I think it starts at home now.
Right. So when should an operator or owner recognize that they need help with their online presence?
When they start feeling overwhelmed about it, and they don't do it. They don't post. They don't do anything about it. It just it's a missed opportunity if you're not doing it. But where you would know if you're overwhelmed by it, if you start cursing it, which you will, trust me.
But if it feels like a burden.
Tricks. Yeah, if it feels like a burden, you need to get some help. And that help might be something as simple as getting some software that can put it all in one dashboard. So you don't have to go hop from each place to each place, where you can handle all one spot. But it saves some money instead of hiring a company to do it for you, which is not cheap.
So if you're passionate about your business, which I would hope any operator is, you should also be passionate about creating that online presence. And if this is a burden for you, if you're looking at this online presence, like, oh, I have to do Facebook, oh, I have to do Instagram, oh, I have to check Yelp, I take a step back and really think about, what are you focused on here? Is it your business? Because if you're thinking that it's only about what's happening inside your walls, it's 2020. It's not only about what's happening in your walls, and you've got to gain business by looking at that. And if you're a passionate entrepreneur or business owner or operator, we got to start thinking about how to improve that online presence. And realistically, maybe it's not fun, but it shouldn't be hard. And if it's getting hard, find some help. Maybe this is the time that you need to look at creating a marketing department or a marketing position, whatever it might be. Look at that third party help, somebody that you can bring in contractually so that they can help build that online presence. If a business is struggling, how can an operator know that the issue is their online presence or lack thereof? With all the things that might happen in the hospitality industry, how can you determine that it is the online presence that might be affecting your bottom line?
That's a hard one, Les.
That's what I'm doing, bringing the hard questions.
Yeah, that's a hard one. I mean, you can tell when something's not right when you can read reviews that's happening inside the walls. But it's hard to kind of know if your online presence is affecting your business, unless you have a friend that's like, I can't find you. Yeah. I'll give you one. If I Google your restaurant, and the first thing that pops up, and I can't find a website, and your website is your Facebook page, you have a problem.
Yeah. You have an online presence problem.
Yes. Because the way that things search now, and they're changing it up, and I'm not a pro at all this stuff. I know enough to get myself in trouble. But when you have your keywords in your website, now they're doing key phrases. So, or been doing key phrases. So, website is huge, and people are like, well, I don't have many. People that go past it, don't go through it, they don't order anything there. I'm like, yeah, but you still need it.
Yeah.
And they're not highly expensive. I think you could run a simple, easy, plain website. What? Domains, $20 maybe, and then you pay The website thing is like $10 or maybe 10 or $20 a month.
Sure. Yeah. Like a solid website that's not taken, that's available, is what, $3.99 a year to get it if it's not available, or I mean, if it is available. And then if you've got to buy it from somebody or something else, it might be as cheap as like $12 a year. And then once you get it, you pay for that domain. It's so cheap based on what it could bring revenue wise into your business.
ROI on it.
The ROI is huge. Yep.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Should leadership in a company wait for there to be issues to change the online presence?
No, but they do.
So you're saying that
a lot of people don't change their habits until they're told to.
So do you think that leadership sometimes looks at it from a personal perspective and like, I don't like this, let's change it, even if it's working well? Like your online presence is cruising along, it's bringing people in, people are responding, they're having a good time, and then leadership goes, I don't like it. Or they see somebody else, they see what Elon Musk is doing, or they see, what's happening over here at another business, and like, I want mine to look like that. I'm like, yours isn't broken, yours is going well, or that's not even your industry. What's going on there? Why do you think sometimes we try to change online presence when we don't need to?
It's just human nature. It's funny things. We don't like change, but that stuff we love to change.
Yeah.
It's like cars. I always say, give me, let's do some hard numbers. I'm back to the numbers thing again. It's like, if you're trending downwards, even though it's being successful, if you have a trend over the last 6-7 months that is trending down, then it's time. Then it's definitely time to revamp it. But if you're trending up or even staying kind of parallel and it's doing a good job and you see some ROI on it, just be very careful on what you're doing. And just because somebody else may look like it looks great and doing great, still what's the numbers behind it is really what it comes down to. Another thing that I think we miss too, Les, is in all this is the trackability. Having Instagram, you got analytics, all this stuff has analytics and analysis that is given to you. People that go through your website, people that go through your Facebook, you can get some great insight on demographics, on what time do they come looking at your looking at your site. A lot of that stuff is huge. I mean, we used a beer, I'm not gonna say which the company, but we used a beer for craft beer. We knew when somebody else, and it's kind of creepy, but we knew when somebody else that normally comes to our restaurant goes to another restaurant and what beer they're drinking.
That's great. And I'm sure somebody's out there like, people shouldn't have that kind of information, but businesses do. And let's get to the point, like whether they should have it or shouldn't have it is not this conversation. This conversation is the fact that you do have access to that information. Let's use it. Let's make sure that we're using it for the right reasons. We're bringing people in. If I know when people are looking at my website, that should tell me when I should post new stuff.
Exactly.
Like that's the correlation there is, people like to look at my website at 4:30 on Tuesdays and Wednesdays. So that's when I post. Or for us, people like to hear video commentary about the hospitality industry on Tuesdays and Thursdays at 10:33 a.m. Like that's when we're going to post.
Yeah. Absolutely. it's like to me, it's like, yes.
How important is it to listen to a third party about your online presence? Somebody who's just reviewing and giving their opinion on it, where you're living and breathing it every day. And then suddenly you have somebody come in, whether it's consulting or a salesperson, saying, here's what I see about your online presence and here's what I suggest. How important, what can you gain from this new set of eyes?
You get an outside perspective. It's hard. And then I'm saying this from personal experience. It's not easy for somebody coming in and telling me, something that you work so hard to do and what you're doing wrong. So if you're doing it, you need to be very, very polite. It has to be done very softly. But it's good as an operator to see what other people are seeing. How they interpret it. You might interpret it one way. If you're doing it day to day to day to day, they might, they're going to interpret this as an open eyes, and especially, but make sure you just don't get one. If you're going to get somebody to come in and kind of do an analysis on your, always get a second opinion. because they might have a different motive to get. They might be trying to sell you something.
Sure, sure. And sometimes they are. And sometimes that selling them something comes from expertise, and what they're selling you is maybe something that you need. So
Absolutely.
you don't know. Yeah. So really take a listen and see what's going on. Why are they telling you this? Is it for feedback, or is it for push of information? Are they trying to sell you something that you need or don't need? What is it? But I totally agree. At some point, you've got to allow somebody outside of your box to look in and say, here's what I see, because they might catch things that you never saw before. All right.
Yeah, I'd call you. I'd call you because you're
Yeah.
bluntly honest. Trust me. Anybody out there reading, do not send a menu to Les.
No.
Woo, you'll get destroyed.
But with the desire to help, I'm like, this font I would never use. Yeah,
that's why I sent it to you, because you're gonna be
color.
bluntly honest, and I like that. No, I don't want to sugarcoat it.
No,
I'm
not good at sugarcoating it.
I love it.
But I'm absolutely giving critique from the sense of helping you to improve, not just wrong. And if I do, it's because we're friends and I'm making fun. But professionally, my wrong is going to be followed up with, and here's what I would do to improve. Here's why I don't see it right. Here's why this font doesn't work with this, or what is this? So, all right. So final question. When is the right time to focus on online presence?
Before you open. But if you're starting it now, yesterday, what time of day? I do mine in the morning.
Okay.
That's my time, daily. But I mean, start now. Start now and start doing some research, guys. I mean, we're not doing a deep dive, Les. We're not even talking about geofencing and mobile fencing, which is a whole different ballgame. We'll touch on that probably in another episode. But now, yesterday, and just what you can do it pretty cheap, if not free, on most things. Just the only thing is your time, but it needs to be part of your daily routine.
All of this can be so overwhelming. Clearly, there's so much to consider, and probably so much more than anyone attempting to get this started on their own can even think of. And like you said, we just rattled off a couple more topics, because we could take a deep dive on so many different things. We could have a separate conversation on each of the topics here that we put in this general online presence. So for viewers, if you have any suggestions for topics, tips, or anything for others who are making their online presence known, or can tell us what to avoid, we'd love to hear about it. Be sure to follow the channel, show some love, leave a comment. We will respond. We preach that you should respond, and we will respond as well. And keep coming back with more strategies and insights to help you improve your operations. Thank you so much.
Thank you.